So in 1984, Olivetti started a new series of their computer. The line was called M4. And the first one was actually this one, which we have seen before. It's up there. Go have a look. This is the one that was very dirty and I was struggling with it. This one is the 486, but eventually, a year after, they went into the Pentium line with the first M4-75. And a year after that, in 1996, the M4-75S came out, which is also on Pentium, but this is a Pentium S. So let's look into this one and see what gems this holds. So over here we have the logo with the M4-75S modulo. So the M4 modular, that's the line of this sort of computer I was talking about. We also have a grill, we have a round piece that will most likely hold a speaker behind it. There's a weird bay here. We have a key lock that tells me that it's unlocked. Then we have a power button, 5¼ inch bay that probably could also be for another 3½ inch. And here's the floppy drive. Down here we have two power LEDs, one for hard disk activities and one for power. And then we have the yellow Olivetti logo and another grill of some sort here. On both sides, we have this locking mechanism that I will come back to when we need to open this up. And yes, it is on the other side also. And then in the back, let's briefly have a look here. We have a power supply over here, and for power in and power out for the monitor. And then we have some kind of like weird stuff going on here. In front, I can see this is keyboard PS2, this is mouse PS2. This says Ethernet, and I see two lightings, but I don't see an Ethernet thing, the plug. I see something up here, so maybe this is an Ethernet card. So could this be like you could have had this version with built-in Ethernet controller on the motherboard? Maybe. Then we have a serial, another serial. This is a parallel, and over here we have a VGA. And as I said, 3 slots with one populated with a network card. I can also see, maybe you can see it too, that the casing down here is bent. Somehow it's bent up, and there are bruises here. Let's see why we have 2 bays here and 3 up there. Something saying Ethernet and it's missing there. So let's open up and see the computer. And it is, as I said, turning this on and then turning it like this. Oh, on the side here, this fell out. Let's open it up. Moving it closer, and there we have the computer. The first thing I noticed is here this big grill here. That's for the Pentium CPU. It's down there. We'll have a look at the motherboard once we've figured out how to dig into this computer. And I have now discovered this network card is a IBM token ring network card. So this is IBM's own developed token ring. And I remember way back in 1995, 6, maybe 7, I was working in a company where their network was the IBM token ring. And I was working actually on a Dell, and that had cards like this inside it. I see up here we have a Razer card, and this card is not even screwed in, so I can take it out. So there you go. Token ring, no usage at all. I don't have a token ring. That's not easy to set up. So this will not be put in back again. tells me that we have 16-bit cards, and then we also up here have PCI slots. And let's see how we get into it. Yes, I see. So there's a level there. And this, I can see, goes all the way in there. So this is actually a lock. It is. So with that, you can lift, I will assume, yes, you could. You can lift this whole bay out, which gives you more access to the power supply, as you can see. And this can also be lifted out. I need to stand up. So, like this. And here we have the Razer card, which then gives us access to the whole computer. Over here we have, for once, an AT power supply plug, which is very rare on Olivetti's, as they have their own proprietary connection usually. So this is nice. Always remember when you're dealing with this, the 4 black ones are ground and they go together when you plug it in, but it shouldn't be a problem putting this in the wrong way because they have these, so you can't put it the other way around. But that's it. I also see, as we saw, the 3.5 inch disk drive. There's also a hard disk underneath here, but we'll have to figure out how to get into that. So let's put out the cable. So red, this goes for the hard disk, is that way. I am getting very dirty, so the motherboard in here is very dirty. This is for the floppy disk. The red one goes the same way, like this, which gives us access to a motherboard. And I see a battery, and the battery is a 3-volt battery, which can be taken off. Like this, and again, red goes that way. Need to measure this one, but this is probably gone, so we'll need to find a new one for this. I see some memory up here, and that's kind of like it. So I think the first thing I want to do is wash my fingers. You know, my OCD. I need to clean this a bit. So let me wash my finger, blow some air into this, and then I will screw out the power supply, which I must assume is the screw up there holding it. And if I turn a little bit around, there's screws here and here and here and here. So, and if I lift this up, maybe there's another one on the side. There's not. So somehow we need to figure out to lift this out of the casing so we can get the power supply out. But I'll come back to you once that's done. So I figured out how to get the power supply out, and it's not easy, so I think I need to explain. So you can't take it out from that hinge way back here. That's not the way to do it, but once this is leveled up, this can be lifted up, and I'm not sure if I can show it to you, but let me just show it once I've taken this out. So you have to open it up, then you can lift it out like this. And once it's lifted out, you can take this all the way back. I hope you can see it. And once it's all the way back, you can lift it out like this. So there we have it. So you need to find this, this area there to get it out from. And let me show you. On this side, you see this one, and on the other side, you see this bracket that is in a special shape. So these two goes like this. So the special one in the special bracket goes here, and the other one goes here. So once it's lifted up, it can be pulled out like this. And then you have this one you need to fix afterwards, which leaves you with a black pane with the motherboard on it. And some wires going, I'm assuming, for some LEDs and a loudspeaker. Let me just see. There's probably a loudspeaker behind this thing here. So let's just remove these. So the first one up here, let me show you. So that's an empty one, J43, not populated. J42 is yellow, having yellow that way. J41 is green, having green that way. And J40, which is the last one, is white, having white that way. So with that out, I should be able to find my way into unscrewing. There's a screw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws in total in the board all over the place. And I think once that's done, yeah, nothing else needs to be screwed out. So let me try to take the motherboard out. I'm still getting so dirty. And one motherboard out. I will clean it before I will try to explain what's on the motherboard. Which leaves us with the casing, which I also shall clean. We need to figure out to get into this area because there's some plastic inside it. So if I look at this, I just think there is a plastic clip. I don't see any screws. Let me just look underneath it. Nothing underneath it. I see a plastic hinge there. So if I move this, can it come out? So some shielding comes out and the plastic thingy. Let me just take it out. That's shielding. There we go. And then the yellow and green one goes over here. So the white one was for the speaker. And yellow seems to go to the yellow lighting and the green cable seems to go to the green lighting down there. We need to figure out how to get this out. I think, what do I think? I think I need to take off the camera and show you how stressful this could be. Or maybe I can just lift it up. Let me see. I'm not sure. No, let me just briefly take out the camera and show it to you. So if I move in here, as you may be able to see from there, there are clips on both of the fittings for this light. This is the black piece that you see here. So we need to clip it. Yeah, because I don't think I can push the lighting through it. So let me just clip those out so we can get this piece off. And then I'll take out the speaker. Somehow that I must be able to take it out like there and there. So I can clean all of this also. And then I will figure out to take this plastic in the back off so I can clean that. So let me just fix that and then come back to you because we have this big project over here. Let me remove this, the screws we just put out. So this one is obviously the bay for floppy disk and the hard disk down there. And here we have the power supply like this, which we need to unscrew. So let me fix all of this and come back. I must say we're gonna have fun with this one. I figured out what to do with this area down here. So you need to open up the brackets in the back and push the lighting through it. Like this. Obviously without breaking anything. And there are 3 on each of them. So there we go. So that's out. Could you have 2 speakers in this one? Could it be stereo? honestly, I don't think I can I? Doesn't seem that I can take it out. Maybe. Yeah. There we go. So that's the speaker out. And everything goes in there, that hole. Good. Let me clean everything. So I cleaned everything and wasn't that bad. But I just think I should tell you this happens. So if you are afraid of blood, just skip over this. And that's because, yeah, well, whatever. I need to bend this back. So I have this tool. And I will see if I can get this back again before I put in the motherboard. So let's just do this. I actually think that was enough. Like this. And then let's have a look at the power supply. And it's over here. And let's see if we can. Well, we can. Let's get the floppy disk out. I need to clean that. And let's have a look at the hard disk that's down there. And I see a few screws for those different things. So there's a screw there for the hard disk. So on this side, there's one screw. On the other side, there's none. So the whole hard disk is held in with one screw. It makes me angry every time. It's like, why even bother? But let's just get it out. There we go. Let's take the power cable out. And the screwdriver is running away from me. So this is a Quantum, and this one is the Fireball series. So nice hard disk. It seems that if we look at the actual bay, you can have a hard disk here and then most likely an additional hard disk up there. So let's see if we can get the floppy disk out. So I'm assuming here. And then over there where the ground is also connected to the same Phillips screw. It's a very tight fit. One floppy drive. I will open this one up, blow some air through it, and then clean the heads with IPA and see if there's any other things that I need to do. Let's see. Which leaves us with the power supply over here. And let's just test it, right? I feel confident for once just to test it. I have already blown air in it, so it's not dusty or anything. These power supplies, because now we're mid-90s, so the power supplies are actually very good. So I'm willing to risk it. Let's get some power into it and let's measure the voltages. So where's the on and off button on a power supply like this? How does this even work, right? It's right there. Sorry. Well, so voltmeter, some probes. Let's find up here. So you usually hear me saying that Olivetti always have 12 volt on the orange and 5 volt on the red. So, well, here it's red and blue because this is AT style. It should be off, so let's put some power to it. And let's turn it on. Give me 5.1, which is good. And if we try the other rail, which is the blue one, which then is the 12 volt rail, it's giving me 11.64. Turning power off. And as you can see in here, the bleeding resistor, because we are now on new power supplies, is actually bleeding out the power supply very fast. So that's a nice thing too. So I will accept the power supply as being not a challenge, and I will now have a look at this one, mount it back once I clean that one, mount back the hard disk once that's cleaned, and then we shall assemble the computer back again. This assembled floppy disk drive, I just want to tell you, very clean. I've blown some air in it, but there's nothing in it. So I will just rinse it on the heads as we usually do. So IPA, very carefully lifting up the head. And there's absolutely nothing. And just giving a tiny drop of oil, put it on the cotton, just to lubricate it a little bit over here, and that's it. I'm not doing anything else. So the floppy drive is back in, screwed in with 4 screws. I decided not to put in the hard disk yet, but I have found 4 screws. They're actually original Olivetti black screws, so that's good. But I won't mount it until we have tested whether or not it actually works, because it's very difficult to get in, so I'll just leave it out while we're testing. So moving all this a little bit away, I think it's time for us to have a closer look at the actual motherboard. So let me make the camera, well, let me zoom the camera a little bit in, and then let's go through the actual motherboard. Up here in the left upper corner, we have our Pentium CPU. And this one, let's see if we can take it out, just to investigate what it is. It should be a 75 megahertz CPU. So very carefully lift it out, and then let's have a look. So as you can see, it is. So this is the 8502, so the second revision of this, running at 75 megahertz. The SSS serial number, the model number is SX969. This up here is the place that goes over there. So let's just put it back. And I'll mount this afterwards. As this is a Pentium, this doesn't run on 5 volts, so therefore we have a volt regulator that regulates this down to 3.2, or is it 3.3? I can't remember. I'll put a sign up there. I can't remember what it is. Over here, we then have our chipset. These are from Intel. If we move to this area down here, this is where we see the memory, obviously. And this is bank 0, and this is bank 2. You can populate these with 8, 16, or 32 RAM modules. So that's SIM modules. And you could either put in fast page memory, which holds 70 nanoseconds, or you could have ADO RAM, which is 60 nanoseconds RAM. Up here we have some chipsets for actually handling the communication between the CPU and the memory. In here, or this one, this is the expansion for a second level cache, so level cache 2, because inside Pentiums we have level cache 1. Over here, this is the port for the expansion card, and if I move a little bit over here, sorry, there we go. That's for the expansion card. It actually goes like this, but then we can't see anything. And we have 2 ISO slots and 2 PCI slots on the board. If we then move over here to this area, this is the video graphics area, which connects the video out here. So here we have a Trident graphics card, and you can have this together, these two and these 2 slots here, you can have this up to 2 megabyte of RAM on the video graphics card. If we move to the right lower side here, we have this chip here. This is the chip that actually handles the floppy disk drives and other peripherals, like interfacing to the serial and the parallel port. It also controls the keyboard and mouse, so it's for the connections that you have over here. Down here we have the AT power supply. I just briefly want to move it a little bit around and show you this area down here. This is where we had the wires, and I move in again for this piece, which holds 3 different cables. And the first one, which is the J40, that's for the loudspeaker. The second one, J41, which is for power. And the third, J42, which is for hard disk activities. And the last one, which wasn't populated, that's actually, this is J43. That's actually for fan, because this is socket 5, and you could have a overdrive CPU on it, and then you could have a cooling mechanism on it with the fan connected here. So all in all, a very, fairly simple motherboard. Not that much to say about it, but it's actually a nice one. It's easy access, and you can extend it with a lot of memory. So with that out, I wanna place everything back. So let me do that. So I think we're ready, right, to turn it on. Before I turn it on, I tested the battery, CMOS battery, and it was actually giving me 3 volts. So that was perfect, nothing wrong with that. So let's just start this and see how far we go. I see lightings on the hard disk drive and it spins up. Sounds okay. And now I see stuff on the screen. American Megatrends AMI BIOS. Revision 1.30. Checking disk system. Please wait, it says. Now it counts the memory. and we're in. And it starts something up. Wow, it located the hard disk up here, 612 megabytes. Pentium, it sees the floppy disk, the BIOS from 71595, 7 megahertz, base RAM memory, additional memory 15, so we have 16 megabytes, so the two SIM slots are 2 times 8. So it's all okay, everything is working. So I think we need to make a quick DR just to see if there's anything on it. And I can see, very exciting, Ghost. I remember Ghost. Ghost is the one that can take an image of a disk and put it on another hard disk. So that's nice. There's also a Windows directory and a DOS directory. So should we just try to write Win? It boots. Windows for Workgroup. This is Italian. Wow! Super cool. Let me accept the hard disk. Let me mount it back in. Put the casing back. And then let's have a little bit more of a look on the actual computer. I will also hook up a PS2 mouse to it. But we have a success. Fantastic. As you can see, everything is put together. I connected a keyboard and even a mouse. And these are the original for that model. This is the ANK27102N. So that's the original keyboard for this computer. Let's turn it on. And let's start by going into the BIOS. And the way to go into the BIOS is usually either pressing delete or space, I think. We'll wait and see. Hit space. And here we have the beautiful American Megatrends graphical BIOS setup. And it's not much to look at. So we can set up the primary hard disk. It's all set up for us. But let's do the date. So August 1st, 22, and I think it's early, like that. Pressing enter, so the date is now set, it's down there. Amazing. There's a lot of advanced settings in the BIOS also, which I will not go through. The reason is that I want, obviously, to extend this, and once we have extended the computer, we can play with all the BIOS settings. But let's just get out of this. And it's booted up again and have a peek into the Windows. And after a while, we finally managed to boot the computer into DOS. Let's just quickly see what version we have. This is 6.22. Do a mem. Gives us the 16 megabytes. And as we saw, there's nothing on the hard disk as such, besides a DOS directory and the Windows directory and this Ghost program. Is there a D drive? We could try and see. No. So there's only the C hard disk. Let's just try and start Windows. It's very fast, right? But it's also tiny. So obviously this is Italian, so I can't read much. And there's no reason for us to go into much of it because it's just regular stuff. I think this is just a normal pre-installation of all the Windows application, but it runs smoothly. So let's close this down and let's wrap it up. I hope you can see I'm smiling. I'm smiling because this is the first Pentium computer from Olivetti that we've been looking at. I'm also smiling because we have passed, or it's the 1st of August, past 1st of August, and I'm also celebrating 1 year on YouTube. And what a journey that has been. But hey ho, I really have had a lot of fun and digging into a lot of stuff. But back to this one. So this M4-75S, and by the way, S means that the cabinet is the slimline. The model without the S, that means it's a normal desktop. The 75 specified, as we now know, that this is a Pentium 75 megahertz. You could also have had one with 100 megahertz and one with 133 megahertz. So, very nice computer. I will really treasure this, and there will be an episode 2. Absolutely, because so many fancy stuff we can do with this. I will try to see if I can locate a level 2 cache module for this one. If anybody out there has one laying around, please get in contact with me. You know, my email is on my profile on the YouTube channel. Just go there and pick it up there. I also want to install Windows 95, maybe 98, we'll see. For that purpose, I want a CD-ROM drive in this one. I also want to extend it to the maximum of 128 megabyte if I can find the modules. We'll see if I can get that up and running. That could be nice. One thing though I forgot to tell you about, and this is why you now see the motherboard as a picture. In the middle of the motherboard and in the back of the computer, there was a tiny bracket, and I couldn't figure out what that was. And I have now discovered this is that you could have had an extended, you could have extended this one with a sound card. So the slot on the motherboard, pointing at it now, somewhere there, that one is where you can hook in the sound card. And again, if anybody knows anything about it, have one of those laying around, I'm showing the models, you may also contact me, because it could be fun putting that sound card in. If I'm not getting that, I'll just put in a Sound Blaster card, as we usually do on these computers. With all that, I hope I covered it. If not, I will be back on episode 2 of this amazing computer. So let's just say for now, thank you very much for staying with me for a year. I am seriously, honestly honored that you see my videos, that you like them, that you make comments, that you write to me asking me for advice, or if I have drivers, or you know, all that stuff. It's so giving, and I really enjoy it. Getting goosebumps right now. So again, thank you very much. You know the YouTube stuff, this one, that one. Please remember to subscribe and ring that bell. Bye for now, and thank you very, very much.